Hey, live on Pat's Soundbytes Unplugged podcast, keeping new music alive on the radio, on video, and any way I can get it. And man, am I loving what I do because there's all kinds of great new music out there. Don't forget, follow me on the YouTube, hit the subscribe button, Facebook, Instagram, and Squid TV is not going to be kicking off quite soon. So you're going to see the videos, and I'm now incorporating the videos of these tracks right now. And I got Jack Starr hanging on for a minute, but before we bring on Jack, we got to play. Jack's got a great new album out with his band Burning Star, and the album is called Souls of the Innocent. Came out on July 15th, worldwide, Global Rock Records. And you want to check this out. We're going to play a little Jack and the guys here as I bring it up. I'm going to talk as I got Jack right now. Where are you, brother Jack? Come on back.
All right, here I am.
There he is, man. Rocker, power metal guy. Man, what a killer riff. Jack Starr in the house. Jack and his band Burning Star. And again, the album Souls of the Innocent. Man, is that so relevant these days? But we'll get into that in a minute. How you been, Jack? Where are you these days calling home?
Well, I'm not in Long Island anymore. I am in the great sunshine state of Florida.
Oh, rub it in. Lucky you. I got to get down here. I'm like New York. I love New York, but my allergies kill me. I'm tired of the ice and the snow. And I mean, I'm a beach guy. Forget about it. If I was in Florida, holy crap. And I can do what I love to do in Florida. I can do the same thing that I do here. Well, congratulations, Jack. Great album. I love it all. We're going to chat about that. Jack, I always start off with, how did you find your love for music? Where did it start off? Mom, dad, watching the Beatles in '64 on the Ed Sullivan Show? What was it that you said, I want to grab that guitar and rock?
Well, I tell you, my dad was in the jukebox business. So he had, a jukebox route where he owned, I don't know, maybe a dozen jukeboxes, and he would place them in different bars and service them. And so there was always the new singles coming out all the time. And so I would love to go with my dad, to these bars. And I grew up in France, and in France, you can drink when you're a kid because, I don't know, they just let you do it.
Everybody's doing wine anyway, right? So
I was drinking wine when I was, 5, 6 years old. I'm drinking it right now.
There you go. Cheers, brother.
Cheers. Yeah, I think it's good for you. In moderation, like everything else. Yes, that's a good one too.
So Dad's got the jukebox, and you're lucky to hear every song, every new song, or everything that's coming out right fresh because he's getting the was it the 45s?
Yeah, they're all 45s, and it was great. I mean, we're talking about music right around, the beginning of the 60s and late 50s, and and a lot of these songs really had an impact on me because we are what we absorb. So we're all the sum total of all our experiences, all whatever we've heard, whatever we've read. And so it was a wonderful thing growing up and being exposed to it.
Absolutely. Oh, that's cool. Were you in any bands in school, or what? Who were your influences growing up?
I was, when the Rolling Stones came out, I was a big fan, and it kind of made me want to play guitar. The Beatles, I didn't really care for that much. I actually started liking them later on, maybe when they put out the Revolver album. But for me, in the beginning, it was the Stones, and I always liked music that had a blues roots in it. And the Stones, obviously, even the name Rolling Stones, comes from an old blues song, Rolling Stone Blues, and so there's blues roots there that I always really liked. And the Beatles, not so much, because they were more into like Buddy Holly and things like that, more into, which is fine, but it just didn't grab me.
Yeah, there's something about the whole British invasion when you look back in the 60s, like you said, the Stones, Led Zeppelin, Cream, Free. There's just that whole blues rock element that they really grasped onto what was going on here in the States with real blues, whether it's Delta or Mississippi, Chicago, wherever you were listening to. As we were saying before, my man Billy's like, if you really love music, you got to dig a little deeper, and you're going to see where we are today and how that all really fits in. Yeah, no doubt about that. I see you were in the band Virgin Steele, and I kind of remember the track "Children of the Storm," and I know I read in the press release there's a pretty cool story with the guys from Metallica that got to see you perform at a festival, and I guess loved the track.
Yeah, we were both playing this festival in Paris in 1984, and we were really both at the bottom of the bill, only we were maybe a little bit lower than they were, but not by much. They were pretty much unknown, like we were, and Ozzy was headlining, and Whitesnake, and Gary Moore, and Dio. Anyway, so they had all these tents set up backstage, and we had our own little tent. Metallica had a tent, Ozzy didn't even stay in the tent. He had a really nice hotel room, But anyway, so they came by, and we were shooting the breeze, and Cliff Burton, the bass player that passed away, and the guitar player Kirk, they came by, and they told me, they said, hey man, you're in Virgin Steele. We really like that song on your first album, and Children of the Storm. And I was a little surprised because I expected them not to like music like what we were doing was kind of more progressive and maybe less heavy than what they were doing. They were really going for the throat back then. It was the beginning of like thrash music. So they kind of took me it threw me for a loop. That they even liked it, and then I didn't think about it, and then when they got to be like the biggest metal band in the world, I remembered. I said, wait a minute, I met those guys way back in 1984. And they had nice things to say about one of the songs that I wrote. And so I thought that was cool. And then I thought, hey, let me throw that in the press release because, people like to make connections. They want to know that we're all part of the same family of metal, rock. And that, so it was a cool little story.
No, absolutely. I mean, I see more and more today, Jack, and I'm sure you see it as well. Especially with the COVID thing. Once COVID hit, obviously there's no live tours, and I've seen a lot of guys, gravitate to other friends and networks. And before you know it, I don't want to call them super groups, but they're able to express getting, when I guess if you're Def Leppard and you play Pour Some Sugar on Me every show, it gets a little, complacent after a while. And I've been able to talk and hang out with Vivian Campbell or Phil Cullen. And I go, Vivian's got a side gig called Last in Line, where he plays, his Dio stuff, and Phil does Delta Deep, and it gives a chance to, just do something a little bit different than you normally do. And you're really surprised on where, like, wow, this guy is really into this. And so, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that a couple of the guys love what you're doing. And like you said, it is all about networking and working with everybody.
And roots, most artists are going to have roots, and sometimes the roots aren't apparent, but they're there nevertheless. In my case, even when I play metal, I phrase like a blues guitar player. Blues guitar players have beginnings and end to their licks. It's not just repetitive, fast, like blah, 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 blah. It's not that. There's beginnings and end. They're like little phrases. They kind of mimic the vocal phrases. So I do that when I play metal. I phrase like a blues guy. And the other thing I do like a blues guy when I play metal is vibrato. Blues guitar playing is all about vibrato. When I started out, I listened to B.B. King, Freddie King, Albert King, anybody named King. If Martin Luther King had made an album, I would have bought it and listened to it and learned the lyrics. So what I'm saying is that the influences that we have come out, and people that get our new album, Souls of the Innocent, they might be surprised at the kind of guitar playing that I do, because it's metal and I use a lot of scales that are used in metal, like mixolydian, harmonic minors, all that kind of stuff. But then I'll take that and I'll blend it in with blues scales and pentatonics, and it becomes interesting.
Oh, it sets your tone. I always ask guitar players, how would you describe your tone? And you just pretty much described your tone, it's all in the feel of how it goes from your brain to your fingers and how it plays out. So that's excellent.
If you don't have good vibrato, I will not like you as a guitar player. I don't care how many scales you play or how fast you play or how much knowledge you have. Vibrato is what makes the guitar sound like a human voice. And some guys have it. Clapton has it. The Reverend Billy has it. I have it. And I know it sounds a little pretentious to say that, but I've worked on my vibrato for about 50 years. So if I don't have it, then to use a Long Island expression, then I'm a schmuck.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a New York expression. No, it all makes sense. I mean, Billy could grab that guitar right behind you, and he's still going to be Billy Gibbons, and it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
It all comes out on your tone. I got the album cover. I got to promote. I got to do. If I'm going to promote it, and there's the album. I love the album cover. It kind of really fits with the music that you have provided. Talk to me about Souls of the Innocent. I mentioned, when I first got the track and listened to the album, and I like to listen to the lyrics and try to figure out the stories behind the songs. And Souls of the Innocent, man, if I think about and pray for the people of Ukraine. And pray for peace with the way this world is going. So many people just, getting slaughtered over, I don't want to get into politics, but bullshit. It just drives me insane. So I think of those people, and I certainly pray for world peace. And I'm thinking, am I on the track of Souls of the Innocent? Was thought about maybe those people or other people that were affected by some stupid ass, crazy psycho asshole out there?
Well, it's a very good observation. The bass player in our band, Ned Meloni, he came to me and we were hanging out one day, and he said, "Jack, I have a great idea for a song, Souls of the Innocent." I've written the lyrics, and he had most of the lyrics done. And so I got together with him. We came up with some guitar riffs to go with the lyrics. But then about a week later, it was bothering me that I really didn't know what it was about. So I called him up and I said, by the way, what is this song about? Because to me, I have my own theory, and my own theory was actually similar to what you came up with. But Ned had a specific incident, which was the Las Vegas shootings, when there were about 4 years ago. When
Jason Aldean, the country show. Yes.
When people were going to see this show, and they were shot down from a hotel window. Somebody was picking them off, and there was something really troublesome about that, and horrible, that these people were on their way to celebrate music and to do something that was innocent, that was very, very benign, and something that elevates the spirit, because music is a wonderful thing. When people perform it or when they go to see it, whenever they get involved with music, they're reaching a higher plateau of who they are. And yet these people, they assembled to hear music and to do something that was spiritual and wonderful, and yet they were killed. And none of those people knew that that concert would be their end, their demise. So there was something especially tragic about that these 80 or so strangers all were killed going to see a concert.
How sad. I mean, come on. I was saying to Edgar Winter the other day, we're a bunch of strangers, like you just said, Jack, and whether it's 100 people or whether it's 10,000 people, we get away from our regular life to get together, and for 2 hours, an hour and a half, we're a bunch of strangers high-fiving, singing the lyrics back, and all our problems have been just go away. And if we could just carry that even after the show and just show a little love and hold the door open for 5 more minutes after that, the world would be a much better place. And you're absolutely right. Here, poor people. And it affects so much of the music world. How many people after that one incident don't want to go? Forget the whole COVID thing. Can you imagine that if I lost somebody that, somebody says, I'll never do that again. No way, no how. I don't care. Vegas, wherever, how bad the security is. And that's so sad because, like you said, music brings us all together, no matter what type of music it is.
It does, and the other thing is that we can't live in fear. That's the bottom line. We're either going to live in joy, in harmony, in tranquility, or we're going to live in fear, and that's not a way to live, So even if it means taking some risk, we have to do that because, life is a risk. There are no guarantees. There's no guarantees any of us are going to live to see the next year. There isn't any. It doesn't matter how old you are. That is the way life works, We are not given guarantees. So if we're going to feel that by living in fear, it extends our chances of living longer, I don't think that that's true. I think, if anything, living in fear probably shortens our lives.
Absolutely.
Because of the stress factor. And even if we want to talk about, autoimmune diseases like what COVID is, stress worsens any autoimmune disease.
You got that right, dude.
Any disease, period, whatever it is, whether it's cancer, whether it's diabetes, you name it.
I don't care what anybody says. Stress is the number one killer. Yes, I don't care if it's at work. I don't care where you're at. You're worried about your kids. If you deal with stress every day, it's going to get you. It's going to eat you up alive.
And that's why I'm having an anti-stress drink. In moderation, but I'm having it.
Good for you, Jack. My buddy, I was just saying to my buddy, we lost a few friends recently. And I said, man, you only got one life. And my buddy goes, no, you got it wrong. death is only once. You got all the time in the world with your life. And I thought about that. I said, you're absolutely right. We always say, oh, you only live once. No, you live every day, but you die once. So
Exactly.
it depends on how you want to handle it. But as let's flow away from that. I love the flow of the album, Jack. I love how it starts with the Ascension and then it just kicks off. Did you guys have a say in the lineup of the tracks of the album? I mean, I know I could put that album or the CD in and I could just drive to Long Island and it just flows really well.
Well, actually, we did give it a lot of thought because what you were just mentioning, the flow of an album, is really important, and also the keys that the song are in. So that's important as well. Souls of the Innocent is in the key of E, but Demons Behind Me starts off in A. So there is some shifting of keys. Like a lot of metal bands, I don't want to say a lot, but some metal bands make the mistake of having everything in the same keys, and then it negates the uniqueness of each track. It's not good to have everything in one key. So we paid attention to that. We wanted to make sure that there was a variety of key changes.
I love the tracks. I Am the Sinner, Ships of the Night. I mean, I'm going to throw them all on our rotation and mix it all up so people get a really good taste and go and pre-order the album. It is an album, right, Jack, that you can pre-order in a CD?
Yes, it's a full-length album. It's almost an hour long. It's on Global Rock Records, and we created three full-length videos. These are professional videos that have some of the conceptual storylines and live footage, and they're really beautiful videos. They were done by a British cinematographer named Danny Merton, and he did a beautiful job. One of them, Demons Behind Me, has a whole story about a young guy who loses his way and falls victim to demons. But the demons aren't like little goblins or monsters. The demons are things like alcoholism and drug abuse, sex abuse, gambling. They're the demons of addiction. And so in the video, we kind of follow this young man and how he finds redemption. And it's a very compelling video. And it has a happy ending.
Excellent.
So I would hope that your listeners will go to YouTube, type in Jack Starr's Burning Star, and listen to some of these videos. And I think there's ordering information, of course, but I think they're going to be motivated to want more because we only did 3 songs. We didn't do all 12 songs because it's so damn costly to do a video. And even 3 videos in today's world is a lot when you're putting out an album.
Absolutely. Well, now the videos are great. And I've just played a minute of Souls of the Innocent and encourage everybody to follow Jack's advice because you're going to want more. The album is well produced and very polished. And like I said, I love the flow. The band, your guitar riff, the thunderous bass and dynamic drums, and the vocals of Alex Panza, if I say his name right. Wow, young guy I never heard of, but he got my attention.
Oh, yeah.
And in the metal world, you really need somebody to get your attention, and he could hold a note or two. Well, let's go over who's in the band. Just share with us who's in the lineup with you, Jack.
Absolutely. On drums, we have Rhino, who's an excellent drummer. On the bass guitar and backing vocals. Actually, Rhino does backing vocals as well. On the bass guitar and backing vocals, Ned Meloni. And on vocals, Alex Panza, who I believe is from Turin, Italy, but it could be Turismo, Italy. I got him a little bit mixed up. I know it's the town in Italy where they make Fiats.
Okay.
So we had met Alex, our singer. we did a festival in Germany about 7 years ago, and Alex is a fan of our, well, I guess now he's the singer, so hopefully he still is a fan.
He was a fan, and now he's still a fan.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah, right.
But he is, and that's how we met him. He came, and you know how in concerts a lot of times after the show, you know, the band will set up some tables and autograph CDs and posters and what have you. So he came to get our autographs and get a CD or a T-shirt, whatever. And I didn't realize when we got him in the band 3 years ago that I had actually met him earlier at one of our concerts. And then on the internet, you know, you can't hide anything on the internet. Everything comes out. So the picture came out, and I'm looking at the picture, and I go, wow, that looks like a young version of our singer. It was our singer 8 years earlier, and it was just a heartwarming story that here was a fan of Burning Star who got his dream come true to sing with us. So
that's a great story there. That's pretty wild. That the guy of fame. Hey, look, dreams come true. Steve Perry leaves Journey, and Neil Sean is on YouTube, and he finds Arnel Pinera from the Philippines, and guess who's running around with Journey these days? Arnel Pinera. So hey, you never know. Who do you? Well, before I get to that, so you mentioned Ned before with the songwriting process. Coming up with a title track. So is Ned the lead songwriter with you, Jack? He comes up with the lyrics and you come up with the riff?
Yeah, Ned has really become my partner in crime when it comes to this stuff. More and more, you know, in the beginning I was really doing like 90% of the songwriting. Now it's really almost like 50-50, you know. I mean, he's just become a really great songwriter, and it really started about 3 years ago. I get a phone call from Ned. We were working on an album called Stand Your Ground. He calls me up and he goes, Jack, I wrote a Jack Starr riff. And I go, wow.
Wow. Okay.
What is it? You know, like, what does a Jack Starr riff sound like? You know, could you share it with me? Like, send me over the file and let me hear it. And sure enough, he was able to really capture musically, you know, the stuff that I do. And that's because we developed this affinity for working together and sharing our musical, you know, thoughts. And because we've been working together, you know, since the 80s. I mean, so he understands, you know, where I'm going with this stuff, you know, and I understand where he's going with it. And it's really good when that happens, you know. It's kind of like the Lennon and McCartney of metal, you know.
Yeah, no, you got to have the chemistry. And you said back in 1980, so he knows every curveball that you throw, and he knows what you're thinking, and you guys write it all. And then Alex has got to understand where you're coming from, because he's got to sell it with the emotion, like it's coming from him.
And that's the beauty of Skype and Facebook Messenger, is that we're able to communicate with him, and which is what we did prior to the final recording. We worked with him because, you know, he had a strong Italian accent when he was singing, which was okay, but we wanted to make the lyrics a little bit more understandable. So we worked with him on the song, on pronunciation. And we got it pretty much where a lot of people really don't necessarily notice that he's not an English native speaker.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that at all.
Well, then we did our job well, and you know, Ned worked with him a lot. You know, Ned is one of the, you know, characters that has this. He's a perfectionist. Okay, I'm not a perfectionist, but it's good that we work together because he kind of keeps me in check. Because I would say, yeah, good enough, that's fine, you know. But he has more like, no, Alex, you don't sound English on this. It's not the souls of the innocent, it's souls of the, you know, and he's like, and he'll hammer it into him until he gets it, and then sounds like a native speaker, you know.
No, he sounds great.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to do because you have to have patience.
Right.
And I need more patience in my life. I'm starting to get it now. You know, the older I get, you know, it's like I'm mellowing out. You know, Ned's got that patience, which is wonderful, and he worked, you know, with Alex. Alex is, you know, young enough to be our son. You know, he was 28 when he joined the band. He's now like the grand old age of 30.
Yeah, right.
You know, and so, you know, we can't expect him to know everything, and we can't expect him to feel everything the way we would. But what's good about him is he is open enough. Instead of being an obnoxious dickhead, you know, and like, oh, don't tell me how to sing, I'm great. He's like, okay, so you would like me to make this last note legato? Okay, I could do that. And you want me to hold out the first note a little bit longer? Okay. You want me to listen to Steve Tyler? I'm not really into Steve Tyler, but if it makes you happy, I'll listen to Sweet Emotion. You know how Steve Tyler does that. Sweet.
Oh yeah, it carries it.
You know, so you want me to do something a little bit similar for Souls of the Innocent? Okay, yeah, I could. You know, so he was open to whatever it was that we were asking him to do. And one of the singers that I worked with in the past was a guy named Rhett Forrester, who sang in the band Riot. And he is like a legend overseas. He died prematurely. He was unfortunately killed in a car hijacking in Atlanta, Georgia in 1996. But he developed this huge cult following. And our singer, even though he was way, way younger, you know, he was like, I don't know, he was like 12 years old in 1996 or whatever. He listened to Rhett, and Rhett became a big influence for him. This guy, Rhett Forrester. And so what I like about Alex really is he is just like a sponge. You know, I want to know who this guy, Rhett Forrester, is, or I want to know why you think the drummer of Whitesnake is so good, or I want, you know.
But I mean, what you're telling me is this kid's work ethic. He wants it bad. Yeah, I mean, when you're hanging out with 2 or 3 or 4 guys that have been in the business for 40 years, I mean, and you're just getting your first opportunity. Well, I don't want to be that guy bringing the band down. I want to keep improving. And if you tell me to listen to whoever, I'm going to listen to it. So kudos to him.
Yeah,
I keep that kid. That kid gets it. He really understands it, and it's a family. He gets it.
He gets it. He's a good-looking kid too, so that helps. You know, you want to get a younger demographic too. You know, before it was just the bass player in the band was the only good-looking one.
But yeah, you need the Energizer Bunny. We're all getting up in age.
We're all getting up there, so,
we're like just nodding our heads and walking the stage. You need this kid running around. He's got the hair. He's high-fiving. He's taking selfies.
Yeah, taking his shirt off. And then all of a sudden, there's like 30 young women in the front row. And it's
perfect.
Like, wow, okay, this is good.
He's doing good. You're doing great, Alex. Keep it up.
And God has spoken. This is good. So all is well, you know.
Any plans on catching you guys on tour, or you're concentrating right now on just getting everybody to get an earful of?
Right now, you know, you hit the nail on the head, Pat. Really, it's about we want people to discover the band, even though we've been around forever. We want people to rediscover the band because what we've done is really more accessible to a broad range of hard rock and metal fans. Before we were doing on the album before, I mean, we had an 11-minute long song. It's not going to be something that really is going to be accessible to most people. And a lot of time changes. So we were incorporating a lot of bands like Dream Theater or Rush or...
That's a certain audience.
It's a certain audience, and... So then we kind of did really an abrupt change on this album. we shortened the songs. We made the riffs more accessible. We created stronger choruses. We made the music less busy. What I mean by that is the previous album had some of the songs had like 12 vocal tracks or like a dozen guitar tracks, harmonies, like all kinds of, stuff going on. This is something that we could actually perform live. We limited ourselves to making it something that is an honest reflection of a seasoned band at the height of their powers.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. Keep it simple that you can do it. You don't need the overlays and the overtracks and the dubs. And I mean, after a while, it gets way complicated. And then people go to the show and go, well, that's not what's really on the album, because then somebody's got to hit a track button. And then you don't want that to spread. Well, they play with a track. Right. No, we're fresh. We're organic. What you hear is what you get. So good for you guys, Jack.
Exactly. And I just want to give a quick shout out also. The producer of the album is a gentleman named Kevin Burns. Now, he has his own studio in Maryland, kind of like in that whole Beltway area. And it's just an incredible studio. And he is also a consummate guitar player. He played with Don Dokken. I don't know if that rings a bell.
Yeah, of course.
Big act in the 80s.
Yeah.
He did an album with Don. And so that he helps tremendously also because we can send him guitar tracks that are not tweaked. In other words, guitar tracks that are totally clean. And then it becomes his talent to take those tracks and reamp them. And I don't know if you've ever heard that term.
Yes, I have. Yep, I hear you.
So he reamps them through these incredible amplifiers. A lot of them are made by Bogner, which is a German amplifier company that, it's like kind of like the Rolls-Royce of amplifiers. And I really wouldn't be able to afford a whole garage full of Bogners, I do have a lot of Marshalls, so I do have a lot of amps, but these are specific to a certain sound, that we want to get. So we're using these Bogner amps and these very, very high-tech microphones and preamps and so on. And this guy...
he's the real deal.
He's the real deal. He's the guy that lives and breathes for this stuff. And when a band finds someone like that, and when you have someone like that in your corner, it's a home run, really, because sounding great because you can play great, okay, that's wonderful. But there are lots of people that play great. You want to play great and also have someone that can make you sound great. Because it's like, it's like a tree falling in the forest. Okay, great. Who's going to hear this tree falling in the forest?
Right.
Unless it sounds amazing. Our new album, and I don't really want to sound pretentious, okay, because I'm not. We've had albums that haven't sounded this good. But this album is very transparent. So if you get earbuds, and I'm not from that generation of listening to everything, on earbuds through a cell phone, but my son is, and I know people that are, and they love this album because it's transparent. You hear everything because it's not cluttered.
I love it because it's very organic.
Yes.
It's very clean. It's very polished. You're right. There's not a lot of fluff at all in it. I love the flow of the album. I love the sound. Like I said, the vocals, you got a great rhythm section and your guitar riffs are right on target. I love all of it. So kudos to Kevin. And you're absolutely right. You got the right guy who understands what you guys want and he just puts a little tweak here or there, doesn't take ownership of it his way,
No.
and he's got the best equipment that
Oh,
money can buy. So how could it go wrong? I mean, good for you guys.
you know, honestly, if we had found Kevin 25 years earlier, we would have been making state of the art metal records. And it might have been a different outcome. It might not have been, because you know what? I don't like to ever second guess myself. I mean, I auditioned for Kiss in 1982, and you know, for a while I was thinking, oh, you know, it kind of sucks. You know, I could have been a Kiss, blah blah blah. But that doesn't mean anything, because there's no telling that would have been a good thing in my life. We cannot assume anything in life. I think I would have probably been way too young to handle the fame and all that craziness that goes along with it. You know, so I don't want to second guess myself about if we had made a great, amazing sounding records 25 years ago, then, you know, we would have been huge, you know.
I look at it this way, Jack. Things happen for a reason.
Absolutely.
And we could go, what if, but listening to our conversation today, which is great, you've taken your 40 years of experience, you know what the good sounds like, you know what the bad sounds like, and you know what you want. You got a great chemistry with the guys in the band. You got Alex, and now you found the perfect producer. You know what? So what if it's 40 years late? Who cares? You're still living your dream. You still love what you do, and that's all that counts. And you're gonna get new fans. And when, you know, I said to people when COVID came, they were all hesitant to release new music. And I go, no, you want them. You got their attention. They're home doing nothing. So when you go on the road, they know all the tracks. You don't have to go on the third song going, so this is a new track, and everybody goes to take a piss and get a beer. They know the whole album. So don't release it. And this is perfect. You seem like, you know, you and your management stuff have a plan. Yeah. And it, you know, people listen today. I mean, we live in a visual world, so it's all about this Zoom stuff. But if they can,
the nail on the head, because of one other thing too. If you get an album out and it's doing well and it's being embraced by whatever target audience you're shooting for, it changes the kind of gigs that you're going to be offered and where you're going to play. And let's face it, at our age, you know, me and Ned and Rhino, we don't want to be traveling in a broken down van, loading equipment at 2 a.m. We want what we want, and we want to be on a higher level than that. And the only way that is going to happen, and it is starting to happen now, is that promoters and people in charge of festivals, you know, putting on these festivals, are going to see the impact that we're making with this album, and we're going to be offered better gigs. And that is part of the plan.
Oh, you paid your dues, Jack. You've done the van thing. You know, this ain't your first rodeo.
No, and
when you put out look, it's all about the product, right? The songs. When you put out a great album like you have right now, you know word's going to travel. I mean, I'm in New York, and I'm going to play the crap out of it, and people are going to start opening their eyes, and they're going to want more. I know I want more. I'm excited. Who's this? What is this? You know, the first album is great. I can't wait for the second one. So you're going to get somebody's going to grab your ear and say, you need to open or be on this bill because you're at our level.
Well, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother, for saying that. You know, and I got good news today, actually. I was talking to our media guy that does a lot of our postings and so on, and he said that this major distribution company, they're called MVP, and they do music and videos and all kinds of, and basically they are they're teaming up with the label that we're on, and they're gonna do a good round of advertisements in all the metal you know, newspapers and what do you call those things? Blogs and all those kind of, you know, things that require money and a commitment. And for me, it's very important when I see that a label is willing to put their money where their mouth is. because I don't need someone patting me on the back. Oh, you made a great album, Jack. Okay, thank you. But if they're my record label, I want to see a commitment from them, from reviewers and people like yourself. That I appreciate because that's a great seal of approval, you know. But when they are saying to me, "We're going to take out ads, we're going to," and I have to thank the CEO of our label has an interesting name. His name is Brian Adams.
Oh,
he's
okay.
not the Brian Adams.
He's not the Canadian.
No, he's an English guy.
Okay.
Named Brian Adams, and you know, I really have to thank him for believing in the album, because he's believing it enough to bankroll, you know, videos and advertisements and work with YouTube and whatever, because it costs money. You know, it's great to put out a great album, but you really need people behind you that are going to do that. And Giles Lavery, also working with him, is doing wonderful things. And
you got the great John Lappin, who I love to death.
John Lappin, and he is being seconded by Phil Simons, who heads our North American office. And so we got all these people. And I have to also give credit to my wonderful fiance, who I met her. She was doing promotion. She was in charge of the publicity for Woodstock 2019. There were two Woodstocks. There was one in New York, and there was one in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. That one had, you know, John Sebastian, Meloni, 10 Years After, Jefferson Starship. It had more people from the original, and I, with my blues band, somehow got on the bill. So, and I met my lovely fiancée, Linda, in 2019, doing this Woodstock show. And even though I'm too young to have played at the original, I mean, I'm old, but I'm not that old. I am actually going to be 61, so.
I just turned the big 60 the other day, Jack.
All right, so I got you beat.
We're dinosaurs. You got me beat. I'm gonna catch up to you, but then you're gonna pull away again.
Yeah, I hear you, brother.
It's all good.
So I met Linda at this concert, and it was called Woodstock Revisited. Linda, are you around?
Yeah.
What was the name of the concert where I met you?
Woodstock Experience.
Okay, it was the Woodstock Experience. Come and say hello to a fellow Italian.
Oh,
Pat Calamari. This is.
Hey, Linda, how are you?
Hi, how
This
you
is
doing?
Linda
I'm
Maniscalco.
Oh, it's great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Maniscalco, meet Calamari.
Yeah, hey.
I love your
Forget about it, right?
Is that what part of Italy is that from?
Actually, northern Italy.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's a
so
village
he's from up
called-
there.
There's a
She's
village
from the
called-
boot.
Oh, she's on the bottom. Okay. But it's all good. Well, Linda, I got to tell you, I love this guy and I love his album. And I
Yes.
think things happen for a reason. 2019, he found you. 2022, he finds me.
Yeah.
And we're going to rock Little Souls of the Innocent and wake up New York here with a little Jack Starr's Burning Star.
Well, thank you so much, Pat. You know, we really appreciate it, you know, what you're doing. And I like the fact that you're playing a lot of classic rock, because to me, that was really some of the best music.
Yeah, no, it's all about the classic rock for me, and the blues,
Very
and playing the video. I mean, MTV's forgotten and they do their own thing now, but I'm going to do my own thing. So we're going to, but hang on with me before we click. But I'm going to wrap up now by telling everybody, check this guy out, Jack Starr, Burning Star. Say hi to Linda too. and go buy it. You could download it with Spotify, but I tell you every day, buy the album, because when you see Jack and Ned and Rhino and Alex, they can autograph that. You can't autograph Spotify, but for the time being, download it anyway, because when we see this guy on tour, you'll be able to sign all of it, because I'm a dinosaur. I gotta have it, open it up, the lyrics, the liners, and all that good stuff. But it's all good, all rocking, new music all the time, right here on Pat Soundbytes Unplugged Podcast.